So that's interesting. So how was the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, basically? Because I know that you were always a voracious reader, but not a great student, right? So how did that? How did you with that, and how it was actually to, start the company, basically, to start the Dakota?
Exactly. Like I think I was a nerd in all the wrong ways. Like I wasn't a school nerd. Like, I was a rebel in every possible way. Like from music taste to, and I just wanted to be different. I guess right. That's what teenagers want to be. But
What was your music taste as a teenager?
I just like into metal and rock and all the stereotypical rebel teenager, right? I didn't
Yeah.
do anything stupid.
That's
But I just I wanted to be different in ways that were not exactly helpful, I guess. Right? I didn't.
I understand completely. My nickname in high school was Metal. I am not joking. For 3 years, instead of being Pedro, I was Metal, and I was the kid that would always used to sit on like the last row of the classroom with my Iron Maiden T-shirt. That one day was black, but it was gray already because I've worn it so much. And to this date, I still like Metal.
I still like. I wasn't as edgy because I was shyer. You were, as you say, you're an extrovert for life, so you would show it off more. I just wanted to be different and left alone. So I just man, don't talk to me. Just leave me be, please. And for my parents, my father's like as a opposites in every way. He was always a big nerd in school, besides being an extrovert. So he was like straight A's, best college. He was uh, USP engineer. He's like very square in school because his parents were very, very strict with him. And he tried to be that strict with me, but I was just school dumb. Like I could not get a lot of the things through my head, right? And in a ways, I hated that I had to learn something that I didn't choose to learn. I that's a rationalization from looking back, but that's how I probably felt if I could put my finger on it at the time. I was like, man, why am I learning this shit? Like, it doesn't make sense that I have to learn how electrons combine. I'm not gonna be a fucking scientist, right? So that's not what I'm going for here. And but I had to
that's
go
great.
through it, and I didn't want to. In the same way, I wasn't as much of a rebel as I was just like saying fuck it to everything. So I didn't want to let my parents down. So I would just do the bare minimum so I could push through it without like repeating years or like staying behind. I was a 7 out of 10 student most of the time. I just pushed through it. And I found myself when I was reading, I could actually choose. Right, my father pushed reading a lot. He would like reading a lot. I could actually choose what I wanted to learn, and I brought that had started growing on me, especially early on in college, where for the biggest letdown possible, but a letdown everybody warns you about, which is you think college you're finally going to learn something that you actually want to learn, but then you get there, there's 80% of stuff you don't want to learn to get to the stuff you do want to learn, and then even when you get to the stuff you want to learn, it's outdated, right? So I was more than frustrated. I started reading a lot. So my mindset was I have to go through with this. I have to finish the school, and then I can just do whatever I want. That's what was in my head. I was reading in school a lot, in college a lot. I was getting kicked out of class a lot for reading because some teachers thought it was disrespectful, and I get it. But I just kept reading in the car, and that's where the habit grew on me. And right after this internship, where I was very much lost. I'm like, man, sometimes it feels like this word was not built for my head was not built for this word. Like this, am I gonna fit in somehow? And my next move after this was my business college. They had this. I don't know if they have that in the U.S. I probably do have a much better version of it, but it's a uh, college company, right? Where they give this consultancy for small, so other small companies. So it's
Yes,
right,
yes.
and I applied for it, but everything about it was my worst nightmare, right? It was very formal. People would wear ties, and they would be very cute about management, right? Like, oh, well, let's do the SWOT analysis of this bakery. Like, fuck, man, it's a bakery. Why are you doing the SWOT analysis?
Exactly. Well, I think that that's the maybe the first time you got in touch with the like what we would call a stage entrepreneurs, right? People that just really want to be in charge but don't want to earn the right to actually command anything or create something, right? In the end, I think that uh, yeah.
And they were very competent. Like this, they would help a lot of small companies thrive. They were profitable in every way. But I sabotaged myself more than one way to not get into it, I guess, because I was late to every interview. And on the dynamics, I was very sarcastic. Like I didn't want to get in, but I was going through it. I don't know why, to this day. And of course, I didn't pass the thing to become one of the members of the thing. And I was lost twice. I'm like, man, I fucked this up because I'm such a jerk. And then what am I gonna do? At that time, was in Gustavo, my co-founder. He was doing this. He's spending some time in Canada, like through college, or he was like this. I'm not sure what was the program, but he was spending some time there, and he had just came back, and he saw a lot of new things that we haven't heard before so far about startups and entrepreneurship, technology, and a lot of young people, many young folks doing things that we never thought were even possible for us, someone our age. And we were friends who were sitting in the bar, and we shared the same frustrations. We're like, look, this is not taking us very far in college. We were very similar in not being exactly A students, but both readers, likes reading a lot as well.
It's a very common element with me as well. I didn't know about all these, like including the metal part of it, but I've always in school also, I was a terrible student in the things that didn't interest me, precisely with that framework. Or like you said, you create this justification in your mind. There's a degree even of like, are we right or are we arrogant, right? But in the end, I don't regret not doing the bare minimum in chemistry or physics, because I won't I was far more interested in Portuguese, English, history, geography, and some math, but not that much. So it's fascinating.
Yeah, soft skills, right? That's the thing. And
Yes.
we had the share frustration, and then we literally, I'm not sure this time anymore if we said it or if we think we said it, but that's how we felt. We said, let's go bankrupt together. Like that's a beautiful thing to say to someone, isn't it? Like, because our thinking was, okay, we're in college, we got time, it's not that hard, like we can go through it without that much effort. Uh, we still got our parents supporting us, we, but we don't know anything about anything in real life. And he had even more experience than I did. He had managed his parents' shops and stuff like that. Uh, just sounded more fun than the stuff I did. But our decision was like, right, let's start something and see where it leads us. The more probable thing that's going to happen is going to go wrong. But in the end, if we hang in enough time, we're probably going to learn a lot more than if we just don't do it. And then might as well do it. So this acceptance from day one that this was probably not going to go right took a lot of pressure off from us. Like we didn't put ourselves in a position like we gotta make this work. Like it was very free. It was like, no, we just gotta learn something and do something. Maybe we find something that works and then we go from there. And that's how it started, and how we started researching and trying to find something to do.
That's great. And out of all the ideas or problems, how did you guys get to the car, or what was the story, behind that?
So back in the day, not that far, not that long ago, in tech years, a million years ago, uh, there's always the X of Y, right? The Uber of and the Airbnb of At the time, it was 99 Designs, and the crowdsourcing platforms. It was the thing. So 99 Design was a big startup, a big reference for us at the time, and I remember we went to my place and we went to a whiteboard I had in my study room, and we created 3 criteria. If we're going to choose something, which is very much not romantic from an entrepreneurial story here, right? We were very cold about it. We're going to choose a market first, and to choose a market, we're going to choose 3 criteria. It has to be big, it has to be a growing market, and it has to be very low tech, so we can actually do something about it without too much competition. And then we wrote a bunch of markets in this whiteboard, just brainstorming around. Elderly, arts, wine, interior design, just a bunch of stuff that we thought. And there was a fourth unofficial that we must think the market was pretty cool to work in, right? It wouldn't be something like that we thought would be boring.
Yeah, I mean, you wanna be happy as well, and think that that's also a fun thing. I love the fact that you start with the size of the market, though, because in the investment heuristics that I have, at least, people come secondary. Not that they are not a very important part of the equation, but the number one thing, at least to being, in my opinion, to be successful in venture, is that you got to partner with people that are in large, extremely big markets. That's the number one thing. And then you look at the people, and then you look at the product. But the way I see it is basically it's a multiplicative model. So it's as if one of these elements are not there. It's as if you multiply by 0. So anything times 0 is 0. But it starts with it's market, people, product, in that order, in order to provide massive returns in terms of just the financial gains around it. Because you can be brilliant, but if you are the best, I don't know, coconut sales guy in Cambodia, like, it's probably not going to be the same as if you started Coinbase or Google or Instacart.
Yeah, and that was our criteria. Although our criteria was fairly mistaken, as in the way we researched each market that we liked. Interior design was really big and very much growing, as it still is. But we saw it from the wrong perspective, where, not wrong, but you cannot see just this huge market and assume that's your market, right? Because inside interior design, there's furniture, there's decor, there's a lot of things. And service as interior design was a small slice within it, which is where we landed, right? We decided, right, interior design sounds cool. It sounds very bureaucratic, sounds very low tech, like people are doing this very manually. What if we sold interior design projects online? That was the first one, right? Simplifying. There was some other options, but that was the winning one. And we eventually decided on the name for it. And if we were to reevaluate the market size, then it would be a coconut market, right? Because it would be low budget interior design service in Brazil, and that doesn't sound very big, but that's where we were, assuming we were in a $1 trillion market, which is interior design, if you count on furniture. But we're not selling any furniture; we're selling service.
Yeah. But that's a great point that you talk about. Something I absolutely want to explore in our conversation is just this ability of thinking big and not limiting yourself by your own reality, which, again, it's another very specific trait of what makes a founder, in my opinion, inevitable. That I've been fortunate enough to have partnered with some of the companies that unfortunately wasn't the case with you. Hopefully in the next chapter, but the with Decora, but having invested in Pipefy and Rocket Chat, it's rare that you will see founders, and I think Alessio from Pipefy has the best framework on this. When he decided to start a global company after going to Israel, and he was like, you know what, you just got a bunch of people surrounded by all these other countries, a tiny country, everyone wants to destroy it. And then so like there's no other way for you to like. That's why I love Israeli founders. It's this combination of sheer pure determination with this global mindset from day one. You can become a millionaire and live a comfortable life just doing things in Brazil. And I salute people that I want to go global and actually cross those barriers and think through, understand that there are no limits and they want to play in the NBA. That's also something that it's important for me, which is why I invest all over the world, but specifically in the U.S. and Latin America, versus just doing business in Brazil, which I find that there are incredible opportunities in Brazil, but it's intellectually less interesting in life. So and it's okay to start in a small market as long as there's potential for expansion. And so what was the thinking behind? Okay, we're gonna start 99 Designs for interior, decorations and the design, but and then what?
Yeah, that was the thing, right? Thinking big is scary, right? And then being in a continental country is both a curse and a blessing, where you can just do very well just being here, but it limits your big thinking, right? For a lot of people. And that was the case with my father's company. It lives out of exclusively Brazil, and our bureaucracy and chaos, which it was born in, protects it from the world as well. So any other company that does the same thing wants to come here and see how we do our taxes. They're like, no, there's no way. There's like
Yes. I love to say that's like we're very friendly as people, as Brazilians, but when it comes to do business, not that friendly.
For us, when we started doing this interior design, the way we're just fresh out of reading the Lean Startup, right? So we're like, okay, this is it. We were doing it by the book, right? We needed an MVP. We just learned what an MVP was. All right, we need something to validate. So we had mentors in this. I jumped this chapter, but basically we were inside this just born kind of accelerator, kind of incubator. We wasn't sure what it was, but we had these partners that were older and accomplished, and they were our mentors, right? And they explained to us, right, we need to validate it, we need to test this stuff. We had this landing page we built, which was basically just nothing behind it. It was just an outdoor, right? And it would say, buy your interior design projects and so. And we tested it, and fortunately, it was pretty enough that it got like into this award for best startup landing page. That's how wide West Brazil was. Like this templated landing page.
There was an award for best landing pages.
That's how silly startup in Brazil was. Right?
Oh my God. There's one thing I hate when founders put the awards that their companies received on their pitch deck. It's a massive negative signal for me. It's funny.
Yeah, no, that's silly. And just being an option drove a lot of traffic, which saved us a lot of money. And that traffic,
because usually the people behind, right, making the decisions for these awards are not very intelligent. Or they don't know, they haven't gone through the journey. Like if we're going to have a completely like unbiased way of, decentralized voting by ultra experienced people, then I think that there's credibility. I think even the Oscars or like whatever award, like they all have their own problems,
How do you award the landing page?
Yeah. but that I think it
was a thing. It was a thing. We didn't ask to be in it, but we were.
Yeah.
And then we validated this landing page, and we got enough people to try it out and interact with it that we decided it was a good idea to invest in this business, and that's how we made this terrible decision of spending years trying to sell interior design projects online.